Hello everyone, I'm the Commissar, and today of course we're going to be watching some Forged Alliance Forever. But first, some big news. There's a balance patch, a big balance patch, and we better have a quick look at what's in it. This dropped yesterday, and it's quite an exciting set of changes. A few little tweaks to some land units, but the most important, although amphibious tanks are already getting some, every unit is getting a vision upgrade. So that's going to make a lot of big changes, and the Deceiver's getting a buff to compensate. Bricks and Otham's getting better torps, that's going to be good too. Few little tweaks, but Navy is where the real big changes are going down. Harder to knock people out of the water at Tech 1 now, because subs are tougher at Tech 1, torpedo launchers are tougher at Tech 1. And attacking a combined naval force with a lot of cruisers in is going to be harder from the air because they're generally being buffed, but decreased range on the AA. So it's harder to kill cruisers with torpedo bombers, but it's easier to snipe out things that aren't protected by cruisers. Few other tweaks to carrier and cruiser support as well. They have better TMD, battleships have worse TMD. Few handling tweaks there. Air. Changes to air. Elevation change. More responsive interceptors, but better handling transports, including faster unloading transports. Those are all little mechanical changes to their handling, but it should make them easier to handle, so I'm going to enjoy that. Mercy's being nerfed into spread fire area damage units, a bit like Firebeaters were. Don't like that. Strats, energy cheaper, energy more expensive, mass cheaper, but lower rate of fire, so it's going to be hard to do long bombing ones with them, but cheap to build a big snipe. Harm's nerfed a bit, don't like that. Energy storage being increased, but we'll see why that is when we come on to overcharge in a minute. Mass extractors, P-gens, and mass storage, hit points being nerfed so it's easier to raid them. Reclaim being reduced for higher tech units, so that you drop 2 GCs in somebody's base and they all die. Sure, it's still a mass dump, but it's less of a mass dump. Just mechanical interactions to torpedoes. Now, I mentioned this vision change earlier, every unit can see more, but this is going to be a big one. Overcharge. We mentioned that storages hold more, but overcharge costs more, so you have to invest more in power if you want your comm to be a unstoppable Rambo killing machine at T1. Talking of comms, Eon ACU having the split of range into range and advanced range. I don't like that. Just more FAF, and it means, and this is very expensive, look at that energy cost. So that means that it's going to be basically an Eon comm with the first 2 gun upgrades is a regular gun comm, only it's more FAF to get there. So I don't like that. Bubble shield for UEF now a separate upgrade. Don't mind that. Never used bubble shield before, probably won't use it now. Cybern ACU. Laser loses a bit of damage, but this here is great. It's splitting the cloak into self-repair followed by cloak. So you get more regen on the self-repair, you get more hit points on the self-repair, but you don't get as many hit points on the cloak. So overall, stealth and self-repair is now going to be quite a powerful combo along with the gun, and I'm going to be using that a lot. Makes Cybern much lower on my I don't like this particular mechanic bit, which it used to be for having gun and T2 on the same slot, and advanced regen over just being fixed so that it now actually works properly. So that's what's happened change-wise in the patch. This is patch number 3571, I think. Why can't I scroll to the top? There we go. 3761. I just made up some numbers there. Patch 3761. I will link the patch notes in the description below. Read them and see whether you like them. Anyway, let's get on with the game. And here we are in game. So, you're thinking, but Mr. Commissar, you said that all the interesting changes were to Navy. Why aren't we watching a naval game? And I will tell you, it's only been 6 hours since the patch was released as of the time of recording, And there haven't been a great deal of interesting, exciting naval games to watch. So, we're going to watch an exciting game on the new patch that isn't naval. You'll get some naval games in the future, I'm sure of it. Anyway, let's go on and meet the teams. Left-hand team, Western team, Team 1, starting up here at the top with StillX, who is 1700 rated in Eon, and he's cyan coloured. To his south, also Eon, 1500 rated, this is SolidSnake, and he's in dark blue. Out here in front, we have Firv, who is 1500 rated, he's UEF, and he's bright pink. Behind him, we have Oblii, who is 2200 rated, highest rated player in this game. He's UEF and he's burgundy, and he's gone first air, which is quite exciting. See if he does anything useful with it. In baby pink, here is Woodsay, 1500 rated, who's gone UEF. And in the air slot, last but not least for Team 1, we have Lorem Ipsum. He's dark green, he's 1200 rated, and he's UEF. He's the lowest rated player for this team. Here's their mirrors. Gumbo is 1800 rated, he is Eon and he is orange. Next to him, walking forward here in mauve, we have Cascade, who is UEF and who is 1700 rated. Out here in front for Team 2, we have luvmesomerice in baby blue, our first Cybran of this game. He's 1500 rated. Behind him, we have Team 2's highest rated player, Rowan Mandingo, who is 2000 rated, and he is lime green in UEF. We're just going to call him Mandingo today, I think. Another Cybran, it's Babel in brown, he's 1400 rated. And in the air slot, also the lowest rated player for the air slot here, we have Mythologist walking forward there. He's UEF, he's 1100 rated, and he is red. So let's have a look at the map. Nice lots of reclaim in this central diagonal here. Lots up here to claim, lots on the central plateau to claim, and mirrored down here. So we can see that Gumbo is already pushing forward to get his greasy paws on all of this. Less so for StillX, who is being a bit more conservative in his expansion. Now, looking at those move orders, it seems to me as if we've got 4 comms versus 2 here and 4 versus 2 here, so let's see how that plays out. Firv, attempting a distance build up here, but finding trouble due to the reclaim, he gives up on that one. But he's got an air transport coming in, and that's quite exciting. He's got some engineers on there, but he's also got some labs. So he's going to both attempt to take this with engineers and then deny the opponent doing the same if they do so with a baby ghetto. SolidSnake has been simpler about it and is just dropping a bunch of engies up here from this chariot. And looks like Mandingo's had the same idea as Firv. He's dropping some engies, but he's also got a bunch of labs on that transport. So, 2 NG drops followed by baby ghettos, who's going to win? And they're literally mirroring each other, but Mandingo's got a problem because those fighters have locked onto him. And Mandingo's ghetto goes down, whereas Firv's picks off Mandingo's engineers. I mean, sure, the ghetto dies, but now both the Team 1 players have a presence on this plateau and nobody from Team 2 does. So that's going to be quite the advantage to Team 1. Let's see if they can capitalise on it. Meanwhile, here in the south, some good raiding going on from Gumbo, and both he and Cascade have set up quite far forward on this side, whereas Snake and StillX have been a lot more conservative in their positioning. Picks off a mechs here, and these guys are quite fast, so they might actually get another NG or mechs kill if they are microed well. Meanwhile, it looks like Mythologist is trying to come around the back. He's got some NGs being dropped up here, which might help him consolidate this position, although they have been seen by Snake's scout. Cascade and Firv exchanging a bit of fire there. Gun upgrades going down for StillX and T2 for Gumbo. fire being exchanged by Rice and Snake. Rice has a little more spam with him, and Snake's taking a bit of damage there. But Snake is falling back, and Rice isn't looking to pursue, so I don't think anything's gonna come of that right now. Gun upgrade's going down for Snake, and StillX has almost finished his first. I prefer to go for the range first, especially with Eon, but maybe that's going to change now that the first range upgrade is less good. And here's Oblii assisting Firv to gun upgrade, which is a nice play in my opinion. Three comms now up here for the Eastern team, and Mythologist chasing them in. StillX is sending his boys up here to deal with this little push from Babel and maybe try and take out Mythologist's base up there. Still no T2 finished for Gumbo, he's only just getting that now, so Oblii going for T2 a bit later, but Firv already has the gun and is pushing in. Cascade is assisting Gumbo in getting that T2 PD up, so that might push Firv back, but there's two comms here, one of them with the gun, and they should beat one T2 PD. What they might not beat is one T2 PD and two comms though. And Woodsay has immediately been worried by that T2 PD and backs up, while Gumbo quickly puts down some T1 to aid in the close range defense. Up here, Mythologist is taking fire from the double gun comm of StillX. Well, one and a half gun comm now, I guess. While Babel is deep into the red from his engagements, and Babel has just given all his stuff over to Mandingo. So, is Babel going for a suicide run here? What's he up to? Down here, more T2 turrets up, and feels like the Western team is going to be held back by this firebase. Woodsay sneaking in for the reclaim, but he's not trying to push anything. He's got some tanks coming in here, but feels like Gumbo's got enough to push it back. Rice is now in a bit of trouble from these tanks that StillX has pushed towards him, and Rice is actually in quite a bit of danger. If Snake can get that gun, is Rice gonna die? Babel has regened a bit, but he's still pushing deep into enemy territory. We'll come back to him in a moment. Rice feels like it might be time to back up. T2 creep here being fought by T2 point defense. But Firv has the gun and can push in on that, and quickly does. Rice has also regened a bit, but StillX is pushing in, he's taking advantage. Meanwhile though, Mythologist has taken over this position here, while Gumbo has held on to this one. So now both these positions are held by the Eastern team. Cascade falling back. Do I want to go to split screen? Not yet, we might have to, but let's have a look at Babel. He's pushing in and he's just shooting up these factories here. Quite bold. SolidSnake has double gun, Babel doesn't have any upgrades, so if Snake catches him up, then Babel just dies. But he hasn't caught him yet. Gumbo managing to get some good turretry up, but that's just dying to Firv and Oblii's overcharges, so Gumbo might be under a bit of threat here. Meanwhile, Babel has seen Snake coming and is backing away, just trying to get as much damage down as he can. We do have a gunship here from Snake, which might just finish off Spectre. But we also have a ghetto coming in from Snake from the other direction that's picked up some of the bots that were patrolling up here. So that could be a bit of fun. Gumbo backs away, but Woodsay, who now has T2, is waiting for him. And Oblii's point defense creep is getting work done. Rice now has stealth gun and is going for the nice new Cyber Nano upgrade, which I was raving about earlier. Let's see if it pays off for him. Gumbo just falling back a bit. He's lost his mexes here, but Woodsay hasn't claimed them yet, whereas Mythologist has definitely got set up on here. Second range upgrade going down on StillX. Snake still only has the first there. But there's that Ghetto firing on Babel, and is Babel about to go pop? Yes, he is. Babel explodes to a Ghetto gunship from SolidSnake, but he's already given everything over to Mandingo, so that felt like a suicide run. And he hasn't power locked Firv, but he certainly left him in the balance. Firv's going to have difficulty getting his overcharges down. However, all this point defense is going to cause problems for Cascade. Cascade falls back under friendly shields from Gumbo. Gumbo puts up some point defense. Snake pushes in, but Rice now has stealth and nano and gun against just the basic range and speed upgrades for Snake. But Snake does have a lot more spam than Lorem. That said, Mandingo's got loyalists out, and if Snake pushes in too far, he could find himself on the receiving end of some loyalist fire. Couple of Ghetto attempts come towards Firv, but they're quickly cleaned up by Firv's interceptors. These loyalists feel like they're going to tear through this spam, but then get overcharged by Still's double gun com. Mythologist stands around. The PD wars continue and are ongoing. Cascade tried to set one up here, but thought better of it and set one up further back. Meanwhile, though, Rice has pushed forward, hoping that the protection granted by his stealth will be enough to allow him to push in a bit and grab some of this reclaim. But StillX has seen him, and with these point defences, could be a problem. There's a lot of lawyers here, and I think they could take the Snake. But Spectres come in and focus on Rice. Actually, they focus down some anti-air first, and everybody's now focusing on Rice. 2 comms, 2 Spectres. And is our Cyberan friend about to die? Yes, he is! Boom! And we've now lost 2 players from Team 2 to none from Team 1. However, we haven't talked much about tech or eco here, so we know there are these tech 3 things now in quite reasonable numbers on the field for Mandingo, who's been working with Babel's base for a while. Tech 3 air is on the way from Snake, and Tech 3 land is on the way from StillX. A few Janus going down at Tech 2 for Oblii. And we've already got Tech 3 Air pumping out ASFs for Lorem. So over here, as we mentioned, Babel's got his T3 land. Mythologist has his T3 Air, as you'd expect. About to have T3 land here from Cascade, or that's just more of Mandingo stuff now that he's inherited Rice's base. And we got T2 land for Gumbo, so mostly T2, bit of T3, and this could prove a problem for StillX, whose comm has been caught out by that big group of lawyers, and they're just focusing on him. Does he just straight up die? Let's find out. Yes, he does. StillX goes down, the first casualty for Team 1. And I mean, he probably took out most of those lawyers in the explosion, and Oblii's going to inherit his stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if he passes it to Snake. Let's see if he does. down here, this has become quite static, but Oblii's got the TML on his comm and is popping off shots trying to take a few things out. Is he going for these PDs? Yeah, look at that, he's knocking out the PDs so he can push in. Yeah, and Oblii has passed that base over to Snake, so Snake can manage the northern front. Now, we haven't talked about Eco much, and they're quite close, about 30 lead for Team 1. And on Team 2, unsurprisingly, Mandingo has a huge Eco because he's sitting on 3 bases. Whereas Gumbo has actually not got much at all. He's only working with 36 mass. That's quite poor at this stage of the game, even for sitting on only 1 starting base. Here I am talking down this player who's twice my rating, or thereabouts. Those loyalists are doing good work. Look at that. There goes Snake. So now we're back down to 3v3. And let's pretend I noticed that push coming in and wasn't just randomly chattering about the eco while Snake was being blown up. Also helped out by Mythologist's comm, who's now got both gun and T2. And this is still mostly T1 with only a bit of T2. So these bricks now in there, not loyalists. So bricks great, I like bricks. And they can probably clear this up, no trouble. There is now T3 up here, and Oblii, having taken over this space, is pumping out Harbies with it. But I don't think he's going to get out enough Harbies to stop 5 bricks walking in. Bricks are better than Harbies, and there's not even 1 Harvey complete, so this base might be about to fall. Tactical missiles there, coming... Nope, not tactical missiles, Demolisher Fire. Demolisher Fire raining down on these point defences, which will easily clear up the creep. And Oblii is flying his comm away, presumably to come back and defend here. Yeah, look, he wants to defend against these bricks, which is quite bold with a comm. But he's probably got quite significant overcharges available to him. I see a couple of storages there. And another one there, so he's got a lot of overcharge and can probably deal with the bricks quite well. He's also got restorers attacking the bricks from the air, and while Mythologist is considering sending air in, there's a decent amount from luvmesomerice defending there, and restorers have pretty good AA themselves. Artie is now going down here for Woodsay, and he's using it to bombard this little base of Gumbo. Oblii landing. There's still 5 bricks there. And his... These changes are supposed to make dropping easier, but where's the drop? Come on, there we go. Oblii lands. The bricks don't immediately focus him. Now they do. But he nips under the shield. And with these 3 restorers, I think he's going to take out the bricks along with the overcharge. And he does, but he's lost a lot of eco from up here, and that could hurt. Team 1 were ahead in eco, they're now behind by nearly 100, so that was a big eco loss. And those demolishers have also been doing work taking out mixes here. Oblii quickly throws the gun on his comm, so he's ready to defend against that happening again. And his restorers are doing sterling work stopping the bricks that Mandingo is sending in. Rice there worrying about the restorers, says they need to spam aims, but this is quite nice. Mandingo's dropped some bricks up onto the plateau, and he will quite easily take the plateau since there's nothing there left to defend apart from a couple of labs. And for some reason this little crowd having fun parked on the edge there. having a little party on the peninsula, not getting anything done. Continental transports here, ready to drop some more bricks. Oblii going for T3. Let's see what he does with that. Do you think he's going to start building XPs, or do you think he's just going to use it to fuel that? I'd like to see him use that T3 to fuel a really fast reloading Billy nuke on his back. That would be nice. Billy here would be great. If he found them at the speed that a T3 com could build them, he'd easily overwhelm one TMD with Billies, which take 2 or 3 hits each to shoot down. I love me a bit of Billy play. Think we're going to see it? He is reclaiming this area, but pretty slowly. And the eco lead isn't closing for Team 1. They're still about 100 behind. Now, we have a large force pushing down here. Bricks from both Cascade... Bricks from Mandingo, Percy's from Cascade, supported by a few Medusas for that nice stun effect that the Medusas have, and with a few Demolishers thrown in from Cascade to break any point defences. But there's not a great deal of AA in there, and this crowd of Restorers and Broadswords now, he's got AA here for UEF and here for Eon. That could cause a lot of damage. Now, Mythologist has a nice air force, which I don't think it's enough to take this out, though. Especially, he sends in a scout, and is he going to take this air fight? Neither Lorem nor Mythologist are keen, but they've seen the comm for Woodsay. They're keener on killing these... Wait, no, Woodsay's on their side. What am I talking about? Oh, they're defending the comm for Woodsay. I think Woodsay needs to get out of there. I mean, sure, this shot's going to survive, and I think if Lorem gets the right turn here, it could win the air fight. No, Mythologist backing away. I think Lorem missed a chance to win the air fight there, but Woodsay sensibly retreating. Those Percys could catch him if they ran after him, but would they all be dead by the time they caught him from Restorer and Broadsword far? I think they would. Nonetheless, it feels like this position might be about to fall to this push from Team 2, even though the push itself is probably going to die soon. We'll see how it turns out. That seems quite courageous, just putting the drones on there of all things. Why does he want the drones? Reclaim, I guess? And there we are. Oblii has indeed chosen to come forward and start launching tactical missiles, but he hasn't gone for the Billy. I would have loved to see some Billy there, but, you know, quickfire tactical missiles, not a bad thing to see. There are now Cougars in the mix here to try and shoot these AA, at these gunships. But that's a lot of gunships. There's only one Cougar and 2 FAF. I think those gunships could take out that anti-air. Oh, but why bother when you've got a bunch of Percys coming in to do it? Is that the first XP we've seen notified that we've got a GC, which is presumably up here somewhere? There's a GC for Oblii going down. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other XP notifications, so that's probably our first XP. Large army mussing up here for Mandingo. He's contributing a little less now down south. I think he's preparing to see if he can get a decent push here. That tactical missile launcher is going for these mixes, but there's now a shield as well as a TMD covering them, so it's probably not going to get too much done. When he takes down the shield, another another one would take out the shield, maybe two. But he doesn't quite get that mix. Percy push gathering here, but there are Percys against it. There's also a decent line of PD, some shields. And I'm surprised to see that this is still in the hands of Woodsay. I would have thought a few of these tanks could have come down and taken it. Lorem starting the Raz. Team 2 still ahead on eco by about 100, give or take. Let's have a look at total mass accrued though. Total mass accrued, Team 1 are still just about ahead. Only by 20k, and that's going to be decreasing of course, but overall Team 1 have held the advantage for longer. And there were the... No, I expected those would be the shoulder drones, but they're not. Also, they were Firvs, not Woodsay, so what do I know? There he is with the little shoulder drones riding on him. Not out doing anything fun. Gunship raids going and taking out a bit of stuff here. They could go and kill that, but not with Mythologist's Air Force hanging around. A lot of them coming in to defend. And here we have the first engage over here for Woodsay and Firv versus Mandingo and Cascade. Now these didn't come in early enough, and so as a result Woodsay's lost a lot of his duels, and I think that that might be a problem for Team 1, who now have just a bit less than they might otherwise have, and who are under bombardment from these boys. It's got sniper bots ranged against them, creeping in from Gumbo. Meanwhile though, that brick drop which we saw earlier, has been cleared up by the gunships, and a Tech 3 engineer, or 3, have been landed up here by Oblii, so the plateau is changing hands again. How many other exciting things have I missed? I completely didn't spot that plateau change hands. Tell me in the comments below. And also, while you're there, tell me who you think is going to win at this stage. We're just under half an hour into the game, and while Team 2 has the eco lead, they're only just catching up in overall eco so far. There's a pretty straight dividing line across the middle of the map, with a little advantage to Team 2 here, but a little advantage to Team 1 here, and Team 1 dropping Percy's in defense. Who's going to win? And, you know, while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. I mean, you obviously like it, right? You've been watching this for half an hour already. So, it's only logical to subscribe. And, you know, makes me happy when you subscribe. Should make you happy too. Anyway, that GC is finished and is on its way forward here. There isn't much land to support it, but there are a nice bunch of gunships still floating around somewhere. And if Oblii coordinates with Lorem Ipsum and his air support, let's have a look at air numbers. Mythologist has 80 ASFs. Let's see if anybody else on that team has anything much. Not from Mandingo, not from Cascade, and not from Gumbo. On the other team, Oblii's got no air. Woodsy's got a bit, but it's all T1. Ditto Firv, so Lorem has 108, so Lorem does have the air advantage, and the gunships, including quite a lot of restorers from Oblii, will definitely add to that. So if they attempt an air counter to this GC, then Lorem and Oblii can between them take the air fight and win. Seems pretty easy. There isn't a great deal of... There's a SAM there, and a flag, but you know, the GC can just clear those. But while we were waffling about that, Here comes a megalith. Now, megalith beats GC. Do they know it's there? Yes, they do, and perhaps that's why Oblii has chosen to retreat his Colossus a bit. But Oblii has built another, which is down here. And with the air support, I do feel that 2 GCs can probably beat a Mega. Where's that TML shot from Oblii's back going? I really want to see that Billy. Why hasn't he got a Billy? Meanwhile, the push has slowly crept forward from Team 2 here. But now there's a bit more in the way of Percys from both the pink players on Team 1. And I think that's going to be just enough to drive these Percys from Team 2 away. And these Medusae are going to be a bit too little, a bit too late. So these 2 GCs massing up for a push on that Mega. There is a lot of T3 with them though, and I don't know if there's enough to actually break them. Whereas if these push in, they just die on the Ravager banks as long as the GCs are with them. However, these RTs, do they look like they're close enough, or can they only hit that? Anyway, Woodsay has built a Novak, so that's going to be good. Speaking of Novak's, one of the better intel gathering units out there. Not so sure about its use as an offensive unit, but let's have a look at what they can see. They've got Omni up. They know where the comms are, which is pretty nice. Well, they know where most of the comms are. Oh no, that's most of the comms. They can't see Cascades, but they can figure out Cascade's got a fatty coming in. Other team don't have Omni, so they know a bit less about what's up against them, and they don't know that those are GCs. Well, now they do. This Ravager creep from Oblii's actual comm in the face of a Mega is quite bold. But, I mean, he's stealthed it, so hopefully they can't see it, and we know they haven't got Omni. 2 GCs, I think they beat a Mega. But do they beat a Mega and all of this as well? Tracticore's doing good work, and then a lot of this is anti-air, which is presumably why Oblii hasn't sent in his flying stuff, and there goes the Mega. But here's another Mega, and this GC is nearly down. This GC is quite damaged. If Oblii doesn't get out, I think he's going to be at risk of that Mega coming and doing stuff. The Novax is having fun harassing the Fat Boy, which has lost a bit of its shield, but there's friendly shields for the Fat Boy to retreat under. And we're getting quite the push here, although there are Ravagers here for Woodsay to defend. Second GC goes down. Oblii is left with only his comm and Ravagers to defend against a Mega, which seems courageous to say the least. I mean, he knows it's there. Pretty sure he knows it's a Mega, and Oblii indeed starts turning and walking away. Can they see him? Absolutely they can, because they just scouted him. The Mega locks onto him, and immediately half his health just melts as the Mega opens fire. And Oblii dies. So now we're 4v3, and the highest rated player for Team 1 has been taken out, leaving only an average rating somewhere in the region of 13 or 1400 for those guys. 1400. Firv inherits it all. Whereas the average rating over here is much higher. They've still got 2000, 1800, 1700. And Mythologist is no slacker. He's been building quite the air grid here. That Novax is doing good work on harassing the Fat Boy, and the Fat Boy might actually die now that shield is down. Woodsay building Colossi with the NGs that Oblii gave to him. This GC has come and done some damage to the already damaged Mega, and will it take it out? No, it won't. These Ravagers probably will. The RT is focused down first. And the Ravagers found the Monkey, not the Mega. I will be doing it the other way around. And it costs them. Neither of these two is dead, but now there's a Fat Boy coming in from Firv. And it opens fire on the Monkey first, just because the Monkey's nearer. These Percys are a bit strung out. But the Mega goes down to the Fat Boy, and the Monkey is now in range of the Percys and will soon follow. There it goes. Over here, this Fat Boy is actually still alive despite the Novak's harassment. And this is fun. We've got a nuke here. Have we got any antis over here? We've got a disruptor on the way. But I haven't seen any anti-nukes here yet. Do they know about the nuke? I mean, they can see some drones assisting something, but they don't know what it is, so they don't know. They don't know about the nuke. And tell me if I've missed it, of course, but I still haven't seen any anti-nukes. Meanwhile, this GC has been shooed away by the Fat Boy, and the second Fat Boy has come in to support. And with a lot of mobile shielding and static shielding, I don't think those Fat Boys are going down anytime soon. Meanwhile, Firv's Fat Boy, which has already taken out one round of XPs, is now going to town on the next ones. The Fat Boy outranges the Mega, but the Mega's creeping up in it, and the Monkey is certainly faster than the Fat Boy. How's that nuke coming? How's that disruptor? That disruptor is nearly ready though. And the nuke isn't shielded, so if the disruptor can get built, shoot the nuke. But they don't know about it, do they? Still don't know about it. This GC is causing some damage, but it's just going to die. There's a lot of Percys, a lot of Fat Boys, and now there's GCs coming in from Gumbo as well. Let's take a quick look at the eco. Team 2, now 200 eco per tick ahead, and they're a total of 0.12 million, 120k, that's it, ahead of Team 1. So they do now have the definite eco advantage. For 40 minutes into the game, that's not a huge difference, but it's significant. T1 bombers harassing this GC. And if they don't do it, then the Monkey will. That's a lot of damage, and just the Monkey focuses the GC, and it does, but the Monkey has taken half its hits from these Fat Boys that are bombarding it, of which there are now 2. But speaking of 2 Fat Boys, this GC probably isn't going to get much done. Woodsay is rushing up T2RT to try and focus fire on the Fat Boys, and he's not even bothering to build it in a power grid in order to make it fire faster, which is understandable. He's just trying to get as much up as he can. And he does get through some of the shields here, assisted by the Novaks that he's still got raining fire down from above. But that nuke fires. Where's it going? It's going straight for the disruptor, which is now firing right back. Oblii says, "Are you kidding? Wasting a nuke." Is that wasted? Do you see a nuke defense there? So that disruptor, boom, bigger boom. The nuke connects with that base, which used to belong to Babel, and wipes it out. Oblii says, I was sure it was in range because he's seen that anti-nuke there, but it doesn't matter, that anti-nuke wasn't even loaded. These fat boys, though, they're looking like they're going to cause some trouble. They're pushing forward. Well, gunships over here. Does luvm still have air? He has 214 ASFs compared to Mythologist 194, so they're about evens. And when they're that close, I think it'll come down to the micro. But Firv has restorers, which, I mean, they die, but they're probably going to take a few ASFs with them. And that's the time when luvm thinks it's time for the air fight. Mythologist thinks it isn't and runs away, but he's going to lose quite a few in that process. Oh, nope, he's coming back. And the air fight commences. Let's give my computer a bit of strain and see if we can watch this from some fun angles. Oh, that's quite a nice angle. Anyway, thanks to the help from Firv's restorers and some good turns from luvm definitely wins air, and now Mythologist is down to just 87 fighters, while luvm still has 174, so now he's got a huge air advantage. But can the air advantage be turned into something here, where there's quite a lot of AA on the ground, 2 fat boys and a... in fact, that's a lot of AA. 2 fat boys and a GC. I think we want to be seeing a defensive nuke hitting this lot. There's a GC and a fat boy here, but there's nothing really else. That Novax is still up and about, but that Novax, where is it? Can't even see it. Oh, there it is. Messing around on the edge, trying to kill Gumbo's comm, maybe? Yeah, that Novax is firing at Gumbo's comm, but I don't think Gumbo's comm will be a great loss at this stage. I mean, sure, he's 1800 rated, he's a good player, and APMs always help, but he hasn't got a huge base. Also, he's easily going to make it into this heap of shielding long before the Novax, and the Novax recognises that and goes and starts killing his power. If it can take down all of this power, that could be fun times. Though, I bet that there's a huge overfill from Cascade now, who's got 22k generation, thanks to a bunch of Rascoms. This GC is standing still in Fatboy fire, and that's not a recipe for a long and fulfilling life. Good heap of broadswords, but he's going to need more in order to get through that amount of AA. These 2 GCs versus these 2 GCs, well, they're 3 GCs, but 3 fat boys are definitely going to tip the scale as compared to only 1 fat boy the other way. And all this shielding means that here, these GCs are falling pretty much unopposed, whereas these keep getting protection. That said, GCs are taller than shields, and so the fire is just going over the top of them. As a result, that GC dies, but now we've still got 3 fat boys, we've still got 1 GC, and what do we have here to defend? I feel like there could be more pushing up here. There's 2 fat boys and not a great deal to stop them. 2 monkeys, but fat boys can take monkeys. Do they know about them? Because of course monkeys have stealth. Well, they didn't, but now they do. line of RT, preparing to bombard those fat boys as they get closer. And he is taking down some of these fatty shields. Novax just pootling around, taking out exposed mechs is good use for a Novax. Oops. 3 fatties bombarding their foes. Look at all those GCs, all stomping in sync. This fatty has been taken out, but there's another one being built behind it. They needed to run away a bit faster, because now I think that those monkeys will take out at least one fatty, although these restorers and broadswords might do the trick. That monkey gets through the shield of the fat boy, but is quickly taken out, and this one is having some trouble focusing and dies, so the fat boy just survives. And if you can hear a bunch of clattering in the background, I apologise. That's one of my guinea pigs rudely having a drink. This feels dangerous though. Here's 3 fat boys, 2 GCs versus only 2 GCs. The broadswords are pinged and they prepare to come in, but there's a lot of AA there that might give them some pain. Mythologist now starting some T3 AA there. But that nuke's almost loaded. Oh, I feel that a defensive nuke is the perfect play here. Just drop it right there and boom. It'll only take a second or two to get across there. Surely no time for a slow-moving thing like a fatty to dodge. Couple of strats from Mythologist. He doesn't have air control, so he's going to have to try and sneak them in. And
Launch detected.
It's a defensive nuke. He's betting that they're going to retreat backwards, and they don't. I think that nuke's going to get basically nothing. It's already got 107k mass killed. Let's see how much it actually kills. Let's see. That's one fat boy. 166k, so okay, I got 30k, but pretty sure there's still 2 fat boys and at least 1, if not 2 GCs still in there. Yeah, that... Sure, we took out some AA, but they've got heaps and heaps of SAMs. The only useful thing they took out was 1 fat boy. So, good on him to try and guess that the fat boys would run, but he guessed that they would run in a different direction, and that could be the moment where this game swings irrevocably in favour of Team 2. Unless they've got some clever tricks up their sleeve on Team 1. What do you think? Can Team 1 make a comeback? They're now 400 mass per tick behind. These fat boys and Colossus still here. They could push. They could push. Those might hurt, but I feel there's more here than there is here. So that's quite the mega count coming in there now. Got to be careful with that. Rice telling Mythologist to build a bunch of strats. Firv also completes a Novax somewhere. Out here, quite far forward, given where his fat boys are literally firing on the front line, very close to that Novax. And here's the fight. Now they can see that monkey. They've obviously either got scouts or Omni, and they can see those megas. And they're pulling back, which is wise because the fat boy outranges the mega. Mythologist has built up a good air force again, but I think that Lorem Ipsum still has the air control. Oh, and these megas just turn and run under the combined Fatboy fire. Quite the arty base there that would defend against the Fatboys if they pushed now, though. And these strats from Mythologist coming in, and Mythologist has given over his air to Mandingo. Oh, those strats. Turn them and kill the strats. They don't, but the strats go away before they actually inflict any further damage. These fat boys have both had their shields taken down by the fire from the enemy. Could this be an attack from a big crowd of broadswords? It could, but there's a lot of flak and the broadswords see it coming and run away. Another fat boy down, and another, yeah. That's a lot of restorers, and Mandingo wisely retreats before the air force from Lorem Ipsum flies in. Cascade says, please tell me when a nuke fires. I bet he's got that sound bug where it only plays the first instance of each sound, which I had that a while ago and it was so irritating. And I think you have to basically go and reset your sound drivers or something crazy stairs like that. And make sure you also have to make sure that your sound isn't set to surround sound, because Supreme Commander is an old enough game that it does not support surround sound. So you have to make sure you're on stereo. I mean, I'm always on stereo because I'm using headphones. And I know you can get headphones that do like fancy surround sound, but if these do it, I haven't tried. Oh, look at this. They've seen the defensive nuke and they've put up a nuke defense here in order to stop it happening again. How close are... Now that's quite close to being loaded, but that's further, but it's quicker to load a defense than it is to load an actual nuke. Now you could maybe Novax the nuke defense, or broadsword it and then just nuke that area. Babel suggesting that crabs have a nice power, which they do, which is that if you tell a crab to lay one of its eggs, which is almost never used because crab factorying is so cumbersome, if you tell a crab to lay an egg on a wreck, then it automatically reclaims the wreck before laying the egg, which is a quick way to reclaim. You don't actually have to, use the egg. 4 GCs pushing in here. Going to be hard to stop that. Firv says give the gunships too, after Firv has now taken control of Lorem's air. And he's eating his way through the megalith with those restorers. And here's a big air fight. Firv is paying attention and he goes in for the kill. With the restorers in there too, this feels like it's Firv's to win or lose. The restorers think the megaliths aren't worth it and push in deeper. Meanwhile, Mandingo's been under fire from Novax and he's nearly dead. Will he survive? He's now under quite a lot of shielding. And the restorers come in. Will this be the death knell for Mandingo? It is! Mandingo explodes in a big ball of fire. And now we're down to 3v2. Mythologist feels vulnerable. there's still a bunch of air above his head, though I think the explosion from Mandingo took out the restorers. Nah, they're gonna run away. I mean, Mythologist has got a lot of shields over him. 2 Novaks, if... remember, they're 1 from each player, so they'd have to be synced.
Strategic launch detected.
Another defensive nuke, but this anti is loaded. That's going to get shot down. And these Colossi are pushing in. Babel spots where the satellite is. That nuke gets anti-nuked. And the first Novax goes down. And what have they now got that can stop these Colossi? Well, they've got gunships, but that's a lot of flak. If they target the more damaged ones first, they might get one of them. But that flak is going to move, and they do. But there's another one walking up. One down, but suddenly broadstones start falling out of the sky as this huge heap of flak catches up. Woodsay says GG, and with these Colossi might be the final straw. These 2 fat boys have lost their shields, and these ones... oh, actually, no, that fat boy might just die. And it does. But there's more where that came from. There's a lot of arty where that came from. There's a lot of arty firing back. But these Colossi are now where it's at. Woodsay complained that Oblii ruined it. I mean, did he though? He gave you quite a lot of good stuff. Oblii complains that Woodsay doesn't understand the game and shouldn't analyse it. And Lorem walks forward to try and... actually, he might actually get this with an overcharge. He does get it with an overcharge, but there's more where that came from. And the GC is firing down on Lorem. I mean, there's a shield in the way, and he might get under another shield, but also he might not. And he does not. Lorem goes down. These 4 crabs are still being held back by those fat boys, but... and now there's just nothing to stop this GC. I mean, this T2 point defense will kill it at the end, but not before it kills Woodsay. Woodsay also dies, leaving only Firv. And suddenly, everything is not so happy for Team 1. Firv resigns, and Team 2 wins. So, admittedly not too much to demonstrate the new patch there, but we did see a bit of Eon 1.5 followed by double Guncom. And we saw some good fun with experimenters everywhere, few nukes, bit of this, bit of that, some nice drops. The transports were quite interesting. I think that the dropping off hasn't really been improved much, and so they seem to have a bit of a problem with the elevation. Anyway, you know the drill. Like, subscribe and obey. Tell me what you thought below, and see you next time.